Hey, thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Miller. Our guest today, look at that little puppy sleeping right there. Flora Beal, who's the acting public affairs administrator, and Ruben Arce, who's the acting shelter program coordinator. And we're going to talk about puppies and dogs, adult dogs, medium-sized dogs, big dogs, kitty cats, and all sorts of animals. So one of the things we figured out because is summertime, and even though it's almost over, but something happens every summer concerning animals. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a phenomenon across the entire nation where you have rescues and shelters, animal welfare organizations that experience a dramatic increase in the population of animals that they have, of pets that they have that are available and looking for new forever homes. And it's not, exclusive to COVID. It happens almost every single year across the entire country. So we have that challenge now of having a very, very large population and trying to get people to come in to give forever families, forever homes to these wonderful pets that we have available.
So, Ruben, is that because there's more dogs and cats out there, or people have given up their dogs and cats?
There's a lot of data out there. It doesn't really specify one item, but we do know that historically during the summer months, we do have a higher intake of pets. I think we had it somewhere in the area about 2,500 pets that just came in the last month.
That's a startling number.
Yeah.
It's like, that's almost 85, 90 a day. All right.
About 100. I mean, yeah, like give or take, because we're not open 7 days a week, but yeah, give or take, it's about 100 per day that come in. So you got to think about, as they're coming in through the back door, we've got to be getting them out through the front door. And we do that with numerous life-saving programs, like transporting some pets up north where there's a higher demand. For example, just recently we sent about 60 cats up to the New England area, right? So we work with rescue partners across the country to see where there's a need and where we can fill that need to get them forever homes. But then there's also adoptions and foster programs, which I know we really want to talk about today.
So one of the things that we used to be in the exotic bird business, we had a retail store, and we knew when people would buy their pets during the school year, the first year, come June, some of the people would return the birds. I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, we're going on vacation. My daughter, my son, this is it." And they're going back to school or whatever it is. So as we talk about this increase, certainly just in the bird population, we saw that. And that was many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have a couple thousand more dogs and cats that are at the adoption center now.
Every month.
What do we, every month?
Every month.
What do we need to do as a community to help out?
Well, it is a community challenge, and it does have a community solution. So we rely on our community to come in, and when they're considering, adding a new four-legged family member to their pack, to go ahead and, first of all, make that decision as a family. And understand that adopting a pet is a lifetime commitment, at least for the lifetime of that pet, because you're really accepting this pet into your family as a member of your family. And you wouldn't have a child and then decide that you want to, give it up after the summer months come because you're going to, the Greek islands or something like that. But so you really do want to understand that is a commitment that you're making to yourself, to your family, and to that pet. In addition to that, just like when we plan for a hurricane or any kind of emergency, you got to plan for vacations too. Like who is it that's going to take care of that pet for you when you do have to travel out of, state, when you're going to go on your vacations? Who is that backup family member or friend that you have that's going to be able to dog sit or cat sit for you and make sure that your pets are safe and cared for while you're away? It's part of having a family, right?
Yes. So if somebody, they're not sure if they want a permanent pet, but they can go in and they can foster some dogs or cats now, right?
Yeah. So we do have a huge demand for fosters, but I think Ruben can kind of go into the fostering program a little bit more than I can.
So, like Flora mentioned, we have many pets available for adoption. And there are people ready to take on pets as a forever commitment, but then there's times when sometimes somebody wants to step up and do a really great thing for the community, and fostering is one of those things. Especially with our neonatal pets that come in. So these are pets that come in at a very young age. Maybe they've been displaced from their mom and they cannot feed themselves. They cannot take care of themselves. Animal Services offers fostering, and we have pets available for fostering. If you won't consider adoption at this time, and I think that could, that's an alternative for people who are not.
And that's a terrific way for parents to introduce young pets to their youngsters. And without having to make a lifetime commitment, say, let's try this. And typically when you adopt a small dog or a small cat, that you fostered, more or less, how long is that time period?
It can be a matter of maybe as little as an hour, as little as overnight. It can be as much as a couple of weeks, couple of months. It all really depends on that particular pet's needs. In some cases, like I mentioned, some cats, some neonatal pets need feeding. Some other pets need ongoing treatment. And getting them out of the shelter, putting them in a home, providing that one-on-one care until they're able to come back and find that forever home. So it really
add that, when you're looking at, because the neonates are always really cute, right? So everybody gets, drawn into the cuteness and, a little baby in the house and everything, but that requires a lot of work. It's bottle feeding. It's the potty training.
Yeah.
It's the litter box training, it's the every couple hours feeding them and everything. So it's very time consuming, and it's a lot of work when you get the puppies and the kittens, right? But our adult population also needs a break from the shelter environment. And we also have some adults that need a little bit extra care, or maybe, they're not really doing very well in the shelter environment. They're a little bit nervous, or, maybe timid, and all the barking and everything is kind of making them upset and anxious. So those pets also need care. And it's actually easier because a lot of times they are already housebroken or somewhat potty trained. They're easier to train because they can hold their bladder. Like this little baby right here cannot hold his bladder. He needs to be taken out like every 2 to 3 hours.
So
to make sure
whenever
he
you need to
have
get
accents.
up, Flora, feel free to get
Yes,
up right
I
out the door. Right
Right out the door. As long as he's in my arms, he's not going to pee. But the adult dogs tend to acclimate to your home environment a little bit easier than the puppies do. And they are just as loving and just as caring. And I would even say almost more in need of having that home environment, because what you're doing for them is that you're actually providing them with a little bit of extra love and attention that is going to set them up for a successful adoption when they do find that forever home. And another way that you can help is also by networking those pets with your friends and families. You'd be surprised how many of our fosters are actually the ones that, through their network of friends and families, ends up finding a home for the pet that they're fostering.
There are two people I'd like to do a shout out for: Carol Vega, very active in animals, and Yolanda Berkowitz. All
yes,
right?
We love Yolanda.
And David Singer, we need you to make a donation. All right. So when we look at the need that is here, I mean, it's really tremendous. All right.
Yes.
And I look at this little guy over here. How old is he?
He is actually only a few weeks old. He came in with his sister, but he's the rascal of the two. He and like I said, when you foster them, you're able to help them, prepare them. And right now he needs a little bit of the separation anxiety training. So we're going to be working on that. He actually just came back from a foster home because it was so intensive, the care and the attention that he needed, that they were like, it's a little bit too much for us. And, they ended up going with a little bit older dog. And they called me up and they were like, your demon child is back and you need to come pick him up. Because I had him in the office one day and was able to care for him. But I find that as long as he's close to you, he's pretty relaxed. It's when you put him down or you're going to leave the room that he starts wailing like somebody's about to kill him. And so, while he's being fostered by me, I'm going to have to work on that so that when he does go to his forever family, when he is ready to be adopted, he'll have a better chance of having a successful adoption.
So people who want to foster, there's no charge for them, right?
There's no charge.
What does the county do to help them in that fostering process, Ruben?
So we will provide supplies, and really all really depends on the pet's needs at that particular time. So, for neonatal pets, it could be like a starter pack with some milk, with some kitten replacer milk. For older dogs or older pets, we provide bedding, we can provide leashes and harnesses. Because again, like Flora mentioned, when a pet does leave, they're still receiving some kind of enrichment and training. And by the time they come back, hopefully by the time they come back, they had an awesome time being in foster and they're able to find their forever home.
So with a lot of the adult dogs that are in the general area, I'm sure it does produce a lot of anxiety when they're hearing these dogs barking all the time. And I know there used to be, maybe there still is, there used to be group intensive care units for humans. It was not, some people would get a little crazy in hearing those respirators going on and off all day long. So I can't imagine what it must be like for these guys who were probably in somebody's home, 3 months before. It was them and the family. Then they were out on the street. Then they wind up going in the truck, right? And wind up going there and having, hundreds of neighbors, if you will. So it takes somebody special, as I'm watching you with this little guy here. I mean, it's really amazing. I noticed that you have a collar on him. Is that a collar?
That's a harness.
A harness, all right.
So yeah, like he was saying, we provide the harnesses. So I'm fostering him. They provided the harness, the leash, dog food. So as long as you're fostering, we'll be giving you the dog food that you take home. If it's a cat or a kitten, we'll give you the litter box as well and all of the litter. So just basically everything that you need to be able to care for that pet, we give you.
And so people can look it up over at buymeday.gov. For animal services, and they can find out more about that fostering. You have videos there. I know in a little bit we're going to see a video, and you're going to cue us up when you're ready, for that. And the people can go directly over to your site in Doral, right? Mm-hmm. Beautiful people, beautiful building.
It's an amazing building. It really was designed with you were talking about the pets and it was designed with the pets in mind, but also with the shopping experience, the adoption experience. So we call it our adoption mall. And it has several wings so that not everybody's in the same large room. It also has soft, gentle music that plays throughout the day, usually to kind of help calm their nerves. But it's important to understand that, when you go through the wings in the displays and everything, they are in their kennels and they're going to bark and they're going to jump up because they want your attention. So a lot of people tend to mistake that for, a dog that's being anxious or a dog that's being, I don't want to say aggressive, but, that is showing some sign of like just being really active and in your face. But in actuality, all they're really saying is take me, walk me. I want to go outside, because part of our program is that we walk the dog several times, whether it's staff or volunteers. When appropriate, we also have them participate in play groups. So a lot of the times when people walk through, they're just trying to get your attention.
And Ruben, so often, I go on Facebook, we do a lot of work on there, and I see some of your ads that are there. And if I remember right, was there one on there about big dogs?
Yes, there was.
See, there you go. I'm a big mutt and I want one.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, when we have all types of pets that come in, we have puppies, we have kittens, but it's really the adult ones and more so the large ones. There's a lot of misconceptions about large dogs and living in apartments, for example. A lot of people think that they need a small dog. And you know what? Sometimes the Chihuahuas are a lot noisier and more rambunctious than your American Bulldog. So it really, when you're making that decision to adopt a pet, it's really important to keep an open mind and to look at your lifestyle on the temperament of the pet, right? So that, sometimes you're thinking that you want a young dog, but young dogs have a lot of energy. And if you're not an active person that goes out, that's going to take them to the dog park every day, then maybe an older one that's 4 or 5 years old that is a little bit more mellow and settled is going to be a better pet for you. And right now, we have so many of the medium and large size adult dogs and cats that are looking for homes. So that's really where the need is. So we're really just making a plea to the community to please, if you're thinking of adding a four-legged family member, please come in and please keep an open mind and take a look at the medium and large size dogs that we have, because they can be amazing cuddlers, and they all think they're lap dogs anyway. So
So years ago, when we were raising our children, we couldn't decide on what size dog we wanted. So we had 2 Jack Russells, we had 2 medium-sized mutts, and 2 Rottweilers. And the king of the house was the mutt Jack Russell, the tiny guy. He would chase those Jack Russells. I mean, the Rottweilers, they were like, what is this little thing here, right? He would pound up against the trees and try to get the iguanas to fall from the trees and chase, the rats around. So there's something for everybody with that.
there is. And again, just look at your lifestyle, look at the temperament, and keep an open mind. Sometimes the one that really touches your heart and that you make that connection with is exactly the opposite of what you thought you wanted.
And when people go online, there's a general idea of what's there, but they can go in and they can see the newest ones that are there. And if somebody walks in and say, I'd like to get that dog over there, what's the process?
So I think the first thing that you want to do is go to petharbor.com. So it's petharbor.com. And when you go on there, select Miami-Dade Animal Services. You can see our entire inventory of pets that we have available for adoption there. And you can actually filter it by age, by size. If you lean towards a specific breed, you can filter the searches so that it will bring up exactly what it is that you're looking for.
So if you're looking for a 10-pound dog, all right, under the age of 3, all right, you can put that in there.
You can. Good luck with that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's important because I think we get puppies and small breed dogs all the time, but they also go very quickly. They tend to be the ones that, their length of stay with us is anywhere from a couple of days to maybe a week or so. Whereas the larger, medium-sized dogs, older dogs, they tend to stay for months, because people are always looking. They always, think that they want that puppy or that small breed dog, and they overlook the other ones. So it's really important that you keep your mind open and again, look at the temperament. But you can do the searches based on weight, age, size, breed, and you can actually set a search notification on there as well, so that it will actually notify you when a pet that meets your criteria comes into the shelter. Now, here's the thing. The system, while you're looking, we're adopting, right? Because we're open, we're getting them into their forever homes as quickly as we can. So it's really important that when you do look, pick your top 3, 4, maybe even 5 that you think you would like to do a meet and greet with. Order them by your preference, which one you would
So they
prefer.
should do that ahead of time?
Ahead of time. So that when you go into the shelter, if your top pick has already been adopted, because in the time that you were looking and drove to the shelter, we may have already adopted that pet out. Because if you thought he was gorgeous and the perfect match for you, the possibility is that somebody else may have thought the same thing. So you want to pick a few so that you can then select from those, and the ones that are available will do meet and greets. And sometimes, the one that was at the top isn't the personality that you wanted, and the one that was at the bottom is. So you never know, but pick several so that you have a better chance of walking home or going home with your new 4-legged family member that day.
So, Rube, what's it like when a family comes in and they see that dog, all right, is running over them? The kids are in love with it. The mom and dad are. Does dad always go, okay, whatever you want?
Actually, I was telling Flora, we recently made a choice to adopt again, open our homes to a new pet. We had recently lost 2 of our cats, and our children were like, oh, we want another cat, and we opened our home to a cat who really needed a new home. But just going back to the whole adoption experience, when you come to our center, whether you see the pets online and you decide to pick a few, and then if you come in and if you see that there's some available, our adoption staff can actually take them out for you. You can get a chance to interact with them. There's no commitment to adopt at that particular time, and pets who are in a kennel will act a lot differently when they're outside of a kennel. We have our play yards. We have a private sitting room, again, in our adoption mall. And people will fall in love right off that first reaction. This pet is out and it sees this new couple or this new family, and they'll make the choice to adopt right then and there.
We've seen those cuts, those commercials, the videos of the dog, getting the walk out, the dog going crazy, jumping all over it, tail wagging, trying to get kisses from everybody. So you see that frequently?
I do, and other than having this little one sleeping in my arms, I think that's my favorite part of the job. Second favorite, right? Because this is my favorite. But yeah, I think that moment that you have the family make that connection, and that pet is going to a loving home that he is going to have for the rest of his life, and that they're going to care for him and he's going to care for them, and it's that symbiotic mutual love at first sight type situation. I think that's why we do the work that we do when we know that they're going to be well cared for when they leave us.
And that's terrific, because here are the county and the personnel are offering to the public these pets, part of their families. What is it that somebody could do who would like to contribute to the cause of animal well-being as far as donations?
Well, I think you were talking about wagging tails, right? So I think, speaking of wagging tails, we have some wagging tails that we wanted to show you.
Okay.
So this is our promo that's running right now, because we're trying.
Curls up in your space, you can't help but love that face. You get love, and I'll tell you why. The girls always come and say hi. Big Mutts, we go all over the place. People come and say, I love his face. Big Mutts all around the crib, and when it's cold all night, that's alright. Cuddles up until the morning light. I like the Big Mutts, cause I know they're cool. They jump up in the truck when I'm on my way to school. I like the Big Mutts, cause they're easy to teach. They even jump in the Jeep on the way to the beach. I like my Big Mutts, cause the way he barks, safe in the dark. So get a Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go. Superheroes to my kids, keep me safe where I live, better than I could have ever dreamed of.
Make their big dreams come true. Connect, adopt, and love a Big Mutt from Miami-Dade Animal Services. What can I say? I like Big Mutts, and I cannot lie.
So get a Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go Big Mutt, go.
Okay. All right.
How
So
cute are they?
yeah, they're neat. Those wagging tails. And
I love big mutts, and I cannot lie.
So you saw the wagging tails, right?
Uh-huh.
So going back to like the adoption experience, and I forgot to mention before, when if there's people out there that are considering to adopt and you're not sure, when you come on down and you meet with that pet and the adoption staff, you can ask questions, to see at that particular time, like what's the dog's temperament, what are the needs that you'll need to provide for this pet. Usually a nice bed, a toy, walks throughout the day, and just simple attention, to get these pets their forever home, is what we encourage people.
so what's it like when the mom and dad are there with the kids, and then this floppy dog comes over, whether it's a little puppy or a big dog? What's the reaction of these kids? How do they deal with that?
It really depends on the family. I have seen some kids that will and I think it's important to remember that teaching your children how to approach a pet, right, is really important, because you don't want to startle the pet. You want to make sure that you teach them basic pet etiquette. And how to approach a pet. So our adoption counselors will usually remind them of that etiquette. But I've seen these, they just melt sometimes, they kind of just, I think my favorite one was one where I saw an American bulldog, and the kids were there, the pet comes in, and she just goes up to them, and he just kind of like melted. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. He kind of just leaned up against the kid, melted into him, and was just looking up at him like, okay, I'm ready for my belly rub. And I think at that point, that kid was just like, oh yeah, this is this is mine. This one's mine, And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes, you have kids that will fall in love with, let's say, like a German Shepherd or a Husky, and the parent is sitting there saying, oh yeah, no, I'm not cleaning all that hair. So that's not one that we are going to consider. Let's keep on looking through the adoption mall. So it really just depends on the family, the circumstances, and what they're looking for. But it is a family decision. So when we see the whole family there, that actually excites us and really makes us happy, because we realize that it's also teaching the children about responsible pet ownership and being part of that selection process, which is important.
Yes. And Ruben, when somebody adopts a pet, tell us about the shots and their licenses and how all that works.
So every pet that leaves from our care leaves with age-appropriate vaccination. So in this case, they'll get booster shots. They'll already be vaccinated against rabies. They'll be microchipped. We know how important microchipping your pet is. And they'll be sterilized. They'll be spayed or neutered already, and they'll be ready to go home. And then adopters will get an adopter bag with some giveaways.
Have any food in there for the dog or the parents, right?
Yeah, we often get
Yeah.
like donations and
Yeah.
special promotions where we have partners that will provide like your starter bag for your pet food.
And I noticed, I'm not sure where, that you need, that when you have these little kittens, sometimes they like to be inside a tube socks, all right? Is that what they're for?
No, well,
So okay, so the tube socks, yeah. So we're actively asking the community to donate tube socks, because we use them as like your warming pads, or your right. So what you do is you fill the tube sock with rice, and then you put it in the microwave to warm it, and it acts as a heating pad.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it acts as a heating pad, because as we know, little neonate kittens can't regulate their temperature properly. So you have to have some kind of heating pad or heating bag, in this case, a heating sock, that you can help them, stay warm and make sure that their temperature is right. So yeah, so we're asking for that, and for dog beds. So if the community would like to help, our population is really
Yes.
high right now. And we're looking for, like, if you have gently used comforters that you just don't use in on your bed anymore, or if you have towels that you're not using anymore, whether they're new, gently used, and particularly pet beds, large pet beds, because like I said, our large population is pretty high right now. We're also looking for those, and you can always help. We actually had a Boy Scout group that did a project, and they actually made them with like plumbing, plumbing materials, and this really it's so pretty. Like they did such an awesome job. So shout out to the Boy Scouts, and thank you so much for doing this community service project. They brought like about a dozen or so of those beds, and that really helps our pets to be able to have that sense of being, home and cozy and comfortable while they're at the shelter being cared by our staff.
So if there's some folks that are really happy with Miami-Dade County, really happy with animal services, maybe they adopted a pet or maybe they didn't, they could go buy at a local pet supermarket or Petco. They could go buy a pet bed for a dog or cat, right? And they could go buy it and have it delivered up there. Right?
Yes.
You can go on Amazon and just send it straight to us.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Our Amazon wish list is up on our website.
Oh, very, very good.
Yeah.
One of the things that you realize as you get a little bit older is you say, well, you could, if somebody was asking for a donation, especially people on the street, you could give them $1, or you could really make a difference and give them 20. Right?
Right.
And recently I said, today is my lucky day. I said to the guy when he came over to me, I said, today's my lucky day. All right. And I gave him a much larger money than I would have ever done before. And it was a great feeling, not his lucky day. It was my lucky day to be able to do that. That somebody came there, all right, that was seeking some help, all right. And we were able to do that. So I know you get to do that every day, all right?
Every day. And I was actually at Ross yesterday looking for bed prices, looking for big beds, because I wanted to donate a couple myself. So, it doesn't have to be an expensive one. And you can always go to a Ross, to a Marshall's. They have really great prices, under $20 for a large dog bed. So
David
that's a pretty
Singer,
good price.
go get 5 of them.
Go get exactly. Or if you wanted to go to Goodwill and look and see what comforters they have, we'll take those as well. It doesn't have to be super expensive or absolutely brand new. Our pets would appreciate anything that you can do.
Right. Why don't you talk to us about, we got a couple minutes left. There's on August 23rd, some event starts.
Thank you so much. We are hosting Clear the Shelters at our Pet Adoption and Protection Center beginning Monday, August 23rd until Saturday, September 18th. So that is what, as it's called, we're clearing the shelter. We want people to come out to the community, consider adopting one of our pets, consider connecting with them. It is an event that we do in partnership with NBC Universal. So it's an event that's being promoted nationwide, and we will start our campaign on Monday, August 23rd.
That's wonderful. I'm going to see for a second. Dexter, can we put up that the video with volume? Yeah. Okay.
So the video one more time.
We're going to give it a shot here. Let's see what
Let's
happens.
give it a shot.
We like wagging.
I like the big mutts. When a big mutt curls up in your space, you can't help but love that face. You get love. And I'll tell you why. The girls always come and say hi. Big mutts, we go all over the place. People come and say, I love his face. Big mutts all around the crib, and when it's cold all night, that's alright. Cuddles up until the morning light. I like the big mutts, cause I know they're cool. They jump up in the truck when I'm on my way to school. I like the big mutts, cause they're easy to teach. They even jump in the Jeep on the way to the beach. I like my big mutts, cause the way he barks. Safe in the dark, so get a big mutt, go, big mutt, go, big mutt, go, big mutt, go. Superheroes to my kids, keep me safe where I live, better than I could have ever dreamed of.
Make their big dreams come true. Connect, adopt, and love a big mutt from Miami-Dade Animal Services. What can I say? I like big mutts and I cannot lie.
So get a big mutt, go, big mutt, go, big mutt, go, big mutt, go.
Flora Beal.
Do I have to say anything else?
Flora Beal, Ruben Arce, thank you so much. Folks, do yourself a favor and your family. Adopt a pet right away. Thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do.